Hi, I'm here today to encourage you to run for office. And if you're already thinking about it, that's probably what brings you to this video. I want to give you a few tips of what helped me when I started out and that I found was helpful at the end. My name is Randy McCallion. I ran for Colorado State Senate in 2020. I ran in a district that was pretty much unwinnable the first time around, and we've never elected a woman or a Democrat to the state Senate seat that I ran for down here. And I ran against a career politician who's been in our state legislature for quite some time. So I did not win, but it was totally worth running. And I grew in so many ways, connected with my community, and did make changes, did make connections, and did make a difference. It's worth it to run. You should run. And I want to help make that a little easier on you here today. So, a few tips that I think you should take when you're first starting out. There's a couple books like this one out there. There's another one called How to Run for Office and Win, I think is what it's called. That's another one I had read as well. I found this to be very useful for a lot of sort of that basic information about running for campaigns. Now, you can also get a lot of that information from groups as well that I'll talk about in just a few minutes. But some books like this can be really helpful, and you can find them very cheap. Thrift books is one of my favorites. You can find them very cheap used. Okay, that's great to get you started on some ideas about running for office, understanding a little bit more of the details, and it's a safe way to get started without actually declaring that you're going to run, right? You can just start reading the books and thinking about it. The next ones that I would highly recommend are these ones, and I think everyone should read them, not just anyone running for office. So this was his first one, and it's great, and this is the revision, and it is fantastic. Either one works. This is a great one, though. So George Lakoff, excellent, and definitely read these books. Along with those books, this workbook was extremely useful to me. And I worked through that about the same time that I was reading this book, and they align very well, surprisingly well. George Lakoff talks a lot about your values, and being a resident leader and working through this workbook, you also are digging deep into your values and identifying your values, which makes it easier to run. When you know what your values are, you can really help people understand where you stand on an issue and how you would vote, no matter what that bill looks like for that issue, right? Your values are your deepest sense of what drives you and who you are. And conservative messaging has been very good at touching into our values, touching on our values. And that's in part why they've done so well as candidates, is that they understand values messaging. I feel as though they don't live the values that they message on, but it's another story. So this one is just fantastic. And this workbook, it's a workbook, goes along with it very well. And in the workbook, you'll have some parts where you're learning and other parts where you're working through it, and it really walks you through it really nicely. These authors have other books that are actually like learning books about being a resident leader and resident leadership, and this one's a workbook, so I recommend the workbook. Those are a few things that you can do and start on before you even declare or truly decide that you're ready to run for office. These are some things that will help you start preparing beforehand. When you think you're ready to either help someone run, run on or work on a campaign, volunteer, you want to know more about what running might look like, or maybe you're totally ready to run for office. There are a lot of groups out there that can support you in various ways with materials that you can use and information for you to learn on your own. And then there's a lot of groups now, not a lot, a few, that do great training. So Emily's List is a group that has a lot of free information out there for you, some online trainings. They have a ton of information. And so Emily's List is a good place to start because a lot of that stuff is free, and you can work through and look at what you need and all that, the resources that they have. Vote Run Lead is another one, and they actually do trainings, and they do free brief trainings around the country. So I took a 1-day training from Vote Run Lead, And that was great for boosting my confidence and background knowledge and basis for running for office and what it would take to run a campaign. There's another one I don't know much about, but the Academy, and they have trainings, they have some materials online. I have only learned about the Academy recently, and it was shared by a group I trust, and so that's why I'm promoting them here too. So the last one I'll recommend that I know a lot about is Emerge. There's Emerge America, and about half the states now have an Emerge program of their own. So in Colorado, there's Emerge Colorado, and you can look up your own state. This group does extensive training for running for office, and it is just fantastic. They, in Colorado at least, have a 6-month program. You do 1 weekend a month for 6 months, and it's just wonderful. I did a 3-day intensive, and it was very intensive. You get less time to work through the material compared to the month-by-month training, where you can have a month to kind of adjust and digest that material and start working on it. And the 3-day intensive was obviously very intensive, but absolutely fantastic and worth the investment. So Emerge is a great extensive training program. Okay, so we talked about some things to get you started. We talked about some trainings that you can use, resources, and then also trainings. The last thing I want to steer you towards that I think was really important to know, as you're building yourself in this campaign as a candidate, as you're building the campaign and all of that, you need to prioritize connecting to people, connecting to your constituents mostly, or the people that, will be voting for you or will be your constituents when you win. So in the end, the strongest and most powerful thing that gets you to win is the vote of the people. And so from the beginning, you should be prioritizing how to connect with people in your community. And so some of the times that's connecting with people who are going to be like you, want to volunteer for your team and help you, that they can pull friends in, they can talk to neighbors, they can maybe make phone calls, knock doors, all that kind of stuff. So you need to be connecting in the beginning with those closest to you, those who you trust, family, friends, and community members, starting to attend more events, ones that you're comfortable with, but that are outside of your normal groups, so that you can start meeting new people and pull them into your circle. Then that expands, that as you're ready to start doing more with your campaign, you are focusing your attention on the people in your community to meet them and make those connections. One reason I'm saying this, that I think it's so important, is at some points in your campaign, you'll get really caught up with things that take a lot of your attention. For example, endorsement applications. They can take a lot of time. And it didn't always feel like it was worth all the time spent, because many of those didn't actually connect me with more people, with more voters. So unless an endorsement is going to directly connect you with people, and that would be through them, reaching out to their constituents in the area, to the people that are going to be voting for you in your area, are they going to do that legwork? Or are they going to give you volunteers in your area, or host, phone banks for you to call people in your area? Or will they give you money to be able to reach more voters? So remember to prioritize connecting with people from the very beginning. You need to build your circle of volunteers, build your circle of trust and support, people that are going to help you. And then you need to start building that next ring of people that will likely vote for you if you connect with them. So yeah, that's the advice I have. Whether you can win or not, it's worth running. You will grow as a person. You will meet more people in your community and learn more things about the people around you. And for as hard as it is, and at times it feels really tough, it's also powerful to see how much change we can make as people when we come together and connect, and how alike so many of us are, how similar we are, and how much we want to work together to make things better. So run for office. It's worth it, and good luck.